Good morning, students. Today we'll going to discuss the part of air conditioning and ventilation, that is psychometric processes. In the last class we have discussed about one psychometric process, that is sensible heating. So today we'll discuss about sensible cooling, humidification and dehumidification. So as you have noted that in the last class, in sensible heating can be achieved if we use to or made to pass the air, unsaturated air, through a chamber within which an heating coil is attached, which is having a higher surface temperature with respect to the inlet air temperature. Then we can achieve sensible heating. Similar way, when the air undergoes sensible cooling process whenever it passes over a surface which is at a temperature less than the temperature of the less than the dry bulb temperature of the inlet air. So in this figure, if the air that is coming into the duct is having a dry bulb temperature TDB1, and if the surface over which or the cooling coil over which it passes is having a surface temperature T2, then the process sensible cooling can be achieved if T2 is less than TDB1, and as a result the air that will be come out of the duct will have a temperature or will have a dry bulb temperature TDB3. So this condition is to be satisfied, that is the surface temperature of the coil must be less than dry bulb temperature of the inlet air. So if we denote the process, or if you want to denote this process in psychometry chart, then since the process is cooling process, so there will be a decrease in temperature or dry bulb temperature. So this is point 1 that denotes the inlet condition of the air, point 2 denotes the surface temperature of the coil, and in between point 1 and 2 the outlet condition of the air, that is point 3, that will be noted or located. Now why this point 3 is in between point 1 and 2? Just like the same way that we have discussed in the sensible heating, in sensible cooling also this T2 is the maximum surface temperature of the coil, which is less than the dry bulb temperature of the inlet air, that is TD1. Now when the inlet air will pass over this surface, over this cooling surface, the heat exchange will take place between this inlet air and this cooling surface. And since this cooling surface is maintained at a lower temperature with respect to the inlet air, so inlet air or the air that is coming into the duct, that will reject some amount of its energy to this cooling coil. So since the energy exchange takes place between the air and the cooling coil, so the air coming out of the coil that will be at a lower temperature with respect to the inlet air and at a higher temperature with respect to T2. That is why T3 is located between T1 and T2. So what are the main features? So the main features are, if we look at the dry bulb temperature, since this one is the initial dry bulb, this is the final dry bulb, so dry bulb temperature is decreasing. What is specific humidity? Just like sensible heating, here also specific humidity remains constant. Relative humidity, initial relative humidity is denoted by phi1, final relative humidity is denoted by phi3, and this is the relative humidity corresponding to surface temperature of the cooling coil. So relative humidity is increasing in this direction because this one is 100% saturation line. So relative humidity increases. And specific enthalpy, since this is a cooling process, so specific enthalpy will decrease. Now just like previous way, if you want to find out what will be the amount of heat that will be removed from the air, so that will be the difference between the inlet air enthalpy and the air coming out of the duct, the enthalpy of the air coming out, that is H1 minus H3. And as a whole we can write this one is equal to CPM, that is humid specific heat, into TDB1 minus TDB3. The unit will be in kilojoule per kg. Now per minute basis, the sensible cooling equal to MCPDT, that is mass flow rate of the air, into specific heat of moist air into temperature difference. M can be denoted replaced by rho into V, and if we put all the values, there is the value of rho, standard value of rho at 25 degrees centigrade and 50% humidity, value of CPM, then the sensible cooling per second will be equal to 0.02044 into VA into delta T, that is in kilowatt. Now just like sensible heating process, here also we can use different types of coil or cooling coil. It may be a evaporation coil or evaporating coil that is used in the refrigeration cycle, or it may be a secondary brine coil. That means you have to use one secondary coil through which a brine solution will have to pass. So by this way we can achieve sensible heating process as well as sensible cooling process. Now while you have to go for sensible heating or sensible cooling process, the arrangement of the heating coil or cooling coil may not be like this. It may be like this, may not be like this. So when the air is to be passed over if we consider a sensible heating process, and when the air is to be passed over a dry surface which is at a temperature greater than the dry bulb temperature of the incoming air, or over a cooling coil which is at a temperature less than the dry bulb temperature of the incoming air, then we can achieve sensible heating and sensible cooling accordingly. But in both the cases, the extent to which the temperature of the air approaches the mean effective surface temperature of the coil is termed as bypass factor. So one new term is to introduce, that is called bypass factor. That means if the sensible heating or sensible cooling is perfect, that means 100% sensible heating or cooling process can be achieved by using some special type of coil or special type of surface, heating surface or cooling surface, then the air that will coming out of the duct will try to approach the surface temperature of the coil, and in that case that is termed as bypass factor. Now more precisely we can say that if we consider this one is a duct and one heating coil is attached over here through which the steam is entering, one side steam is entering, another side steam is leaving. We consider that 1 kg of air at a temperature TdB1 is entering into the coil. Now since the arrangement of the coil is like this, so we can consider that the entire 1 kg air will not come into direct contact with this coil. That means some amount of air will bypass this coil like this. So from this situation or from this observation we can define bypass factor. So we are considering 1 kg of air that is coming in with a dry bulb temperature TD1, out of which B kg of air is bypassed. That means the air that is not coming into direct contact of the coil, that is bypassed at same temperature TdB1. So the remaining air, that is 1 minus B kg, will come into direct contact of the surface, which will attain a maximum temperature equal to T2, that is the surface temperature of the coil. And at the outlet, this bypass B kg plus 1 minus B kg that is coming into direct contact, that will be mixed. So B plus 1 minus B, that will be 1 kg. So 1 kg of air will come out at new temperature, that is TdB3. Okay. So if we go for energy balance or enthalpy balance, then B kg of air is bypassed. So B kg air, mass of the air is B kg into specific heat into TdB1, because this B kg air will have a temperature TdB1, that is the inlet temperature of the air, that will be bypassed, plus 1 minus B kg will be coming to direct contact. So 1 minus B into specific heat into TdB2, that will be equal to 1 into specific heat into the outlet temperature of the air, that is TdB3. So by rearranging this, the bypass factor B can be termed as TdB2 minus TdB3 by TdB2 minus TdB1. That is the surface temperature of the coil minus exit air temperature to the surface temperature of the coil minus inlet air temperature. Okay. So 1 minus B is the mass of the air that will be actually coming into perfect contact with the coil, and this one is termed as efficiency of the coil. So this is nothing but your efficiency of coil. So efficiency of coil equals to 1 minus bypass factor. Similarly, for sensible heating, the bypass factor will be outlet temperature minus surface temperature of the coil by inlet temperature minus surface temperature, because in case of sensible cooling, the surface temperature we have to use cooling coil which will be maintained at a temperature lower than the temperature of the inlet air. So as a whole, the bypass factor can be generally defined as the ratio of the difference between mean surface temperature of the coil and the exit air temperature to the mean surface temperature of the coil and the inlet air temperature. So the concept of bypass factor is clear. Now the next thing is humidification and dehumidification. So what is humidification? What is dehumidification? Humidification means addition of moisture to the air, and the process of removal of moisture from the air is termed as dehumidification. Now since in both the cases we are adding some moisture or we are removing some moisture to the air or from the air, so one property will be obviously changed, that is the specific humidity or humidity ratio, because specific humidity W is the ratio of, or it is defined as the mass of water vapor present in 1 kg of dry air. So if we add some amount of water vapor or moisture to the air, so mass of the water vapor will increase, so that is specific humidity is increased during humidification. And the opposite thing takes place in case of dehumidification, that is if we remove some amount of moisture, then the specific humidity will decrease. Now with respect to this humidification, dehumidification and sensible heating, sensible cooling, if we add or sum all these processes, that means if we mix any two of these processes, either cooling humidification or heating humidification, cooling dehumidification or heating dehumidification, then we can achieve another 4 processes, that is sensible heating and humidification, sensible heating and dehumidification, sensible cooling and dehumidification, sensible cooling and humidification, and that will be discussed in the next class.